And Lakesh and Veritas, everyone, welcome to this Clubhouse event. Your energy, your health, change to be greater. I would like to start by raising the vibration in the space that we are in now, calling for the highest possible vibration and calling for the truth to come forward into our discussion so that the truth can be seen, heard, and spoken, and that we all be in the frequency of truth and have nothing but the truth. Shall we call for the divine feminine to bring balance back into our world, showing us the way through honor, respect, and gratitude, and calling for the highest possible vibration. I now ask for everyone to take a sip of water, as water holds memory, and ask for the water to hydrate our brains and body. Now I'd ask for everyone to take a deep breath in. 3, 2, 1, and let it all out. Take another deep breath in, bringing in peace, joy, and gratitude. And exhaling out, releasing all stress and worry, all that does not serve you. And Lakesh and Veritas, everyone, I call forth the oneness and truth of the information shared by each and every one of us on this call, calling in the frequency of truth so that we can experience all that is of truth, as it is our purpose to bring forward the truth so that we all can benefit from this information shared with honor, respect, and gratitude to you all. The greeting on Lakesh signifies unity, where everything is related, where everything and everyone is connected. It is the idea of a community where we can share with one another ideas, goals, and aspirations so that we all, as one, can benefit and thrive. And Lakesh is that declaration in which we are clearing our spaces, the space we're in now, so that we may be able to bring forth a truthful, elevated, enlightened discussion this evening, clearing away those thoughts that we tend to pick up and carry with us from our everyday life experiences. The words en Lakesh and Veritas is a powerful affirmation that assists in bringing clarity and a greater understanding of truth to all who are present and to all who are listening. Our words have power. So let us remember and decide to use our words carefully, using words of upliftment, encouragement, and enlightenment. By doing so, as a collective, will help us to transform our spaces and places into higher frequencies and better experiences for each and every one of us, as well as for those others who we touch. So, en Lakesh and Veritas, everyone, with honor, respect, and gratitude. Before we begin, I'd like for everyone to hold your water in your hands. And I would now like to ask that you, everyone here, with the intention in mind to send the frequency of en Lakesh to your water. And then take a sip of your water. We are 70% water, and water holds information and memory, thereby assisting in incorporating this elevated frequency of en Lakesh into the subatomic spaces within our body. This is all quantum physics. By doing this technique, it will allow the ease and flow of the information we will be sharing with one another this evening. I just want to remind everyone that you can access the recording of this Clubhouse event and recordings from our prior Clubhouse events on Vimeo and YouTube by searching en Lakesh Studios. And please subscribe if you have not already done so. You can also find more information and content also on enlakeshstudio2.com, the website, so that you can keep up to date with the information and content continually being added. All right, so let us just go ahead and move forward. Over the past several weeks, I've shared with everyone of events covered over the mainstream media, the news. That includes the pandemic and the various mandates, the civil unrest that exists in our country, the global news on the war and its effects on our economy, with the ever increasing inflationary rates and prices and the impending recession. And then we have the increase in the number of suicides in our young people in particular since the beginning of this year. And now, more recently, an increase in the number of mass shootings, all inciting fear, all rooted in fear. So these fear-based events are all energy that is affecting all aspects of our health, adding stress to our mental, emotional, and physical. Now, the question is, what do we do about it? So today I have here Donna Cornille, only a trained in a nurse, an RN who transitioned into alternative care, assisting and guiding people in optimizing their health through the use of energetic techniques, specifically Pyramid Pyrogenics. So I welcome Donna of the Sun to this Clubhouse event.
Well, and the custom veritas, everybody, and thank you, Delilah, and to all present here today. I am in a ecstasy state of joy to be sharing with you. Lots of fun, laughter, information, and we'll open it so we become interactive at some point of the process tonight. A little intro into this real quickly. I have to preface this because this is really a base of what led me even up to Of the Sun was one of my patients I had a extraordinarily spiritual healing experience with. I worked nights and went in, and the 7-year-old had an aggressive brain cancer and was there at our location for help. And, I was overwhelmed by the sight of how he looked. And he was bald, he had Bell's palsy, paralyzation on the face. And there was years ago when they used to bombard people with radiation therapy, there used to be grafts on the head. And anyhow, I was overwhelmed and I started speaking to Source, divine source, and with that, all of a sudden this light comes in the room. This light is getting brighter and brighter. It's coming towards me. It goes into the top of my head, takes over control of my body, lifts me up, puts me to the side of the bedside of this child, and my hands go out. And then what happened was, this inexplicable experience of motion, of this, once I relaxed and realized I was being used as a vehicle, of this healing energy, it was, again, this unexpressible, isn't language to express it, but it was this force, this energy, this pulsation, this beautiful, this love, this healing, this, was flowing through me. And who knows how long it was, but it broke, and then there it was, and I looked down, and while Eric was still asleep, he had this grin, a smile on his face, and proceeded to grow up and graduate from college and live his life. So the
Wow.
point was from being so catastrophically sick, but it was quite an ordeal. And as a matter of fact, when I came back to working on the board was this program called Healing Touch, which was at that time designed for medical people. But so that began my stepping stone road down various pathways of different expressions of energy-based care, all the way through, pranic healing, Reiki, doing indigenous work with the kahunas of Hawaii for 12 years, for the Cherokee Indian medicine men of the Cherokee Nation for 12 years. I mean, it was an extraordinary ride. And then it brought me to the pinnacle of my life, which is Of the Sun, the organization, we are, just beyond what I can express, but beautiful. And as a result, a friend had, introduced me to Of the Sun work, and I started with that. And then all of a sudden, my little granddaughter came along, and she had some very aggressive spiritual situations going on of which they guided us through and taught us and learned how to handle, energies, all kinds of energy. We went through an intensive many years now, since 2017. I've been involved with Of the Sun and learning and keep on evolving and keep on growing. So thank you everybody for listening to that, but it sets the precedence to where I am in my life right now as a practitioner of Pyramid Pyrogenics.
Yes, that's such a great journey,
Oh,
and
yeah,
that it
yes.
leads you from
And
allopathic medicine to energy to alternative care.
yes, ma'am. Yes. As we are all on our journeys, and it's a wonderful collective of all of us and sharing all of our stories, because they all have richness in them that we all can learn from. And that's today what I'm about to do, is to share with you, to enrich you, to inspire you, to motivate you, to bring you to a higher level of knowledge, a higher level of experience, a higher level of energy. All of that is all interwoven together, you know.
Mhm.
So I start out with a song. A song in the 1970s. There was a Broadway musical called Hair. Give me a head of hair, long, beautiful hair, shining, gleaming, streaming, flaxen, waxen, hair. Grow it, show it, long as I can grow it, my hair. So I saved you from my singing, but those were the words of it. And for some of those who remember it, it'll bring a smile to your face. So the hair, the hair.
Right, and that this is what's leading us towards what is pyramid pyrogenics. What is it? So people have a better understanding. What is this modality?
Well, okay. I am going to give you a short, brief description, and then I'm going to take it deeper and go down, okay? So, pyramid pyrogenics is an ancient Egyptian thought physics. It uses mathematical equations from the pyramid structures of harmonic structuring and possesses spectrum of light. For the beauty, the splendor, the wonder of hair and its healing abilities, our hair is sacred and significant to those as an individual, a family, a tribe, a community. This strong cultural identity promotes self esteem and a sense of belonging. Hair symbolizes physical strength, instinct, physical attraction. It's concentrated in the hair are the virtues of any properties of the person, their archetype. Our hair is alive, it is our biology, and each strand has consciousness and has record of what has been going on in our life and past lives, physically, mentally, emotionally, nutritionally, chemically. It is literal time capsule. Hair is an extension of the crown chakra, which is the energy center for universal knowledge and spiritualism, connecting you to the divine and oneness. Information we need from our environment is gathered through our hair antenna. The antenna communicates this biophotonic waves that we receive at the tip of our hair follicle that enter into the hollow tubular hair shaft. And this light energy circumnavigates into our nervous system, the brain hemispheres, the brain, the spinal column, the blood vessels, the tissues, and the whole cascade of everything that we exist of. The language of energy information is transmitted internally, physically, mentally, spiritually through various patterns and waves in our hair directions and patterns. The sacred
Mm.
geometric pyramid serves as a template for the process. There's the precision of a cut that is used in their process. And it can be either done physically in person, as it was originally designed to, or can be done on the etheric or the luminous body template, with having, again, obviously it connects to the physical, and the physical responds to that.
Can I ask a question also?
Yes,
There's just
please, anytime.
so much information. It's just wonderful information. We've been taught that hair is dead, so
Yes.
we can cut it off.
Yeah.
We can cut it off.
Yes. Well, the cutting off, as it will be revealed a little later as I speak, it is really a release of the anchors of all the things that have been pulling you and pulling at you. If everyone would just hold your hair and pull it from your scalp, just take your hands at your hair, at the ends of the hair, and pull to the side, pull, just keep pulling. Don't let go, don't let go, don't let go. This is what it feels like to your hair all the time when you have all this storage and interference and all this data that you have on the ends of the hair. that just accumulate over time. It's very tensing to the scalp. It's very tension to the central nervous system. So, I mean, to cut your hair is to relieve and release old issues, you know, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all across the vehicles of who we are. And it gives you this freedom, if you will. It allows you new life. It activates the end, the tip, the end of the hair over time becomes damaged. It can get split. The cuticle can be, you know, frayed. It can be knotted. It can be looped. You know, the way I'm looking at the hair and speaking with the hair consciousness, it all reveals itself. And when I'm running my hair through your hair, even if I may not be present, I'm running my hair through your hair to find out where the resistances are, where there are gnats, where there are, you know, crossroads, where there are, you know, these are all symbolic of resistances in our world and in our life as we
Oh, that's
are
interesting.
holding on to them, you
So what
know.
about like how about the types of cuts? You know, because you're talking about cut, but you know,
Right,
it's the way
right,
you cut it. You know,
right.
you're just gonna just chop the hair off. Just
Right. Well, okay. So when we talk about haircuts, when we talk from a professional salon cut, they are trained in a certain way in a technique of cutting. Now, you know, unfortunately, it's like their kind of technique flattens the tip of the hair follicle, which diminishes the amount of light that can come through the end of the hair. See, we need light. We are light beings, and our hair is always reaching out upwards to the light during the daylight. It's
Mhm.
interesting, it was revealed to me that now recently that the hair at nighttime, just like flowers in nature, open up in the sunlight and then they close at nighttime for closure, for resting, for more heat, for just a relaxation state point so that it can regroup and replenish and recharge itself to the next day to opening up again. The hair likes to be covered. Years ago, people used to wear nightcaps to sleep. Many years ago, many
Mhm.
decades ago, even
Actually,
in
people still doing
storybooks.
it. They
I
still use.
know.
They'll still use it.
Well, you know, I do, and I have since I was, you know, given that message through Thoth and the communications through the Pyramid Pyrogenics, which I will share. You know, I wear a turban at nighttime, a satin turban at nighttime, and I'm going to tell you the difference it's made in the quality of my sleep and how I feel in the morning. I just feel so nurtured and so contented, and you know, the warmth on the top of the head, you know, the vortices of the head and the bottoms of the feet and the head and the hands, they're huge, you know, conduits of
Mhm.
where our energy flows out of. That's why people always say wear a hat when you go outside in cold, because you're pulling a exchange of energy goes through that, you know, that head, which is large, you know,
So
vortex.
you're only
So
almost saying that, you know, you have the hair. The hair is in relationship to how we feel, our emotions and reactions and so forth. That's what, to me, that's what you're implying.
absolutely. Well, it has consciousness, so it's
Hmm.
alive, and it's, you know, it has, it does have
Something that,
communications and feelings and, you know, thought forms behind its whole agenda as well. You know, it's alive, and anything life, you know, has communication with it. Correct? You know, we
hmm
interact with it, and it will, you know, if we're listening and paying attention, we will grow into greater levels and deeper levels of our communication skill sets, you know, to be able to access more. All you have to do is just start talking and asking and just sitting and asking, receiving, and it will eventually flow to you. But getting back on the track a little bit, you know, did I answer those questions well enough for you,
Oh yes,
Delilah?
yes,
Okay,
absolutely,
all right.
absolutely. I hope you don't mind because I,
No,
you
no,
know,
no,
as we
no,
move forward.
no. No, no, no. We keep going. We keep moving. So you know this whole process again. Let's get into a little bit of the process. When I sit down with someone, you know, and we're preparing for this, you know, it's very important that people be in a receptivity mode, you know, like anything else. You know, if you are not ready to receive, you're not going to receive adequately or appropriately as it's intended. So, you know, we relax, we do the breath work, we get ourselves like we did here, oh, everybody's harmonically on the same page, you know, and then I begin my process with connecting to the hair. You know, I have to be in communication with the hair, talking with the hair, you know, asking it, you know, how is it feeling? What does it want? You know, and many times the hair is very thirsty. thirsty, thirsty, thirsty. It's one of the biggest things. The hair is thirsty and the brain is hungry. You know, people don't really aren't aware of the amount of waters that the body really needs. We are water bodies, and so we need
Mm-hmm.
quite a bit of fluid
Everybody
because
complains
everything.
about dry hair. Everyone is
Mm-hmm.
always trying to put oils and creams and stuff like that in order to maintain the oil or the moisture after washing the hair, you know, and
and
it's
and that's a direct relationship to the amount of dehydration in the body too.
mm-hmm.
The body is shriveling inside, and then obviously as it goes outwards, it's going to be shriveling up as well. So the hair is definitely part of the cascade that's connected to that and will reflect that. As far as the assessment, one of the assessments is getting assessments of the quality of the hair, the conditioning of the hair. Again, running my fingers through the hair. How does it feel? Does it feel stiff? Is it hard? Is it soft? Is it smooth? Is it wavy? Is it curly? Is it coiled? Is it short? Is it long? These are all has symbols of different messages and informations that are valuable, in terms of appropriately handling the process of the haircut itself. Um, it's amazing how the flexibility of hair, when we talk about hair in terms of longs and lengths. I mean, there were, when you talk about cultural things and the references of the symbolism of the hair, hair color, golden hair represents like the sun, and then white hair or silver hair represents eternity. Red hair usually is symbolic of the darker realm. Violet hair is associated with goddess, black brown hair is underworld forces. Green hair has to do with sea or water, you know, um,
But when you
the
say these colored hairs, are you like saying
yeah.
someone's dyeing these colors
Well, no,
too?
but there are undertones of natural colors to our hair, even though I'm not saying, yes, today people fashionably dye their hair green and red
Right,
and every color and spectrum that there is. But again, that obviously is a chemical,
right.
application, and that obviously is not what we're talking about here. That obviously will make a difference in terms of toxicities being absorbed into the body and definitely through the hair and into the brain. And, the central nervous system is connected to every function in our body. Every enzyme, every cell, every blood cell, every movement, every muscle fiber is connected to the CEO, the big brain, the brain and the central nervous. And so, it's amazing that this idea of hair, who most people don't even think about their hair too much other than and then are always standing in judgment of their hair.
Hmm.
My hair is too long, too short, too thick, too whatever, too curly, too you know um whatever they're saying to it, the hair is picking all that up, okay, and is feeling it, all right, and will respond to that and either not grow or dry up or become coarse or
I really
various.
believe that because you can sit and you like when you feel good and your hair looks good when you're like, oh,
Uh-huh.
this hair, you look in the mirror like this is not right. Know,
Well, and we do that. We do it
yeah,
unconsciously, don't we?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
we're kind of combing it and it's like, oh, this part is going over here. Let me switch this part. Or we're flipping our hair, or we're fidgeting with our hair, or we're always, working with the hair. It just it's something we don't even tune into really. But yeah,
Yeah.
so being
How does
really
it like? How does it help us from a health standpoint with regards to our bodies? Because you talked about it's an extension, right? It's an antenna.
Right, right. Well, what happens is, the light, again, it's all about light coming through the process of, bringing this light into the brain. It wakens the brain patterns and it creates like vortex energies in there. It gives it information. That light is information from our outside exterior that is necessary for us to navigate through the exterior, if you will, by what we see. If we're coming close to the edge of a cliff, we need to know that the cliff is spatially getting closer, and there's a gap, there's going to be a drop off, and this is stuff that we pick up, from the spatial information that comes from our hair, that warns us and brings forward, it awakens and informs and encodes the natural nervous system by using the waveform of the light, encoding it to influence and change the neurological functions within. All right, I don't know if that makes sense to you, but this idea of the physical spectrum of light, it activates our chakras, which is again the wheels of light that keep our energy field and luminous field illuminated and functioning, and then when that is illuminated and functioning, and when we have this sense of well-being, there's health in the body, whereas the less light, the less illumination, the less energy, the less health, vibrance within the body,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and just so that the audience knows, just um, examples. I can just share my experience after having Pyramid Pyrogenics. This technique, I had 3 sessions, and I had increase in clarity. I was motivated in doing things that I wanted to do during the week. Because sometimes I'll kind of fall, get a little bit kind of somewhat depressed in the sense of I'm not working as effectively as I should, maybe out of fatigue and so forth. But it just gave me that boost of energy and that spark to keep going, and like, okay, now I'm ready to go. The clarity of thought as well as the clarity for in as far as clarity of movement, energy.
Yes. And what happens is if a flow is created, okay, there is a unity that is created. Now, it's interesting, I do photos before the process and then photos after the process. And before the process, you'll see hair in working in many different directions. It's pulling the Einstein floating above the hair, or there's, spring things sticking out here and there, or whatever. Or you're looking at the hair and it's forming definite columns and gaps between the whole head of the hair. These are all symbolic and of information that's important, that is activated inside the brain, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Which gives me clues into, so when I'm starting this, so the whole idea of the process is I find on the head, on the scalp, where is the spiral origin of hair growth. Our hair grows in a spiral from the scalp of the head. And I have to find out what quadrant. When I'm looking at the head, it's divided into 4 quadrants. And wherever the quadrant is, then I know that's my starting gate. And I apply the template of a pyramid with a 51.1 degree angle on it. And this is very important, that 51.1 degree is the angle of the pyramidal structure. The pyramidal structure is the strongest structure in the universe, right? It's one of the platonic solids. It's one of, it's the fire element, right? Which we can talk about shortly. But bottom line is, it also is the authority. It's the balance. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
then this is how I have to work from that plane systematically in a process, moving around the head based from that original spiral along the plane, and we are at a 51-degree angle at the way the hair follicle will then be trimmed. Now, it used to be called pyramid cut, then it was evolved into what is known as hair healing, harmonic hair healing, and now it has been evolved and given the name of Pyramid Pyrogenics. I have to acknowledge, before we move any further, this how started was, you know, I don't know, did I say that this was an ancient Egyptian thoth
Yeah, you did.
process? I
You
did.
did.
Okay, I wasn't
But
sure if I
did
did or not.
right. You
But,
started off with that, but you
yeah, yeah. And Thoth, Thoth was an Egyptian deity who was credited for so many things: mathematics and scribing and the moon and the calendars and learning and the celestial functions and the galaxies. I mean, it goes on and on and on, and was the representative of the sun god. But anyhow, he's a symbol of, you may have seen the symbol of the eye of Thoth. It's like a
hmm
big oval kind of symbol, but he's also represented as a man with a head of the ibis, which is a bird head, which is the beak is the crescent moon. He was very much involved with the moon, or as a baboon holding a crescent moon. Okay, and so his knowledge is, and he's such a philanthropic being. You know, he does, and doesn't ask for anything really in return. He's very cordial, very, very strong. This is a huge strength in what he can do. But he works and operates with the Temple of Beautiful, you know. And when we think of beautiful, we think of beautiful. I think most of us in our society has been ingrained to think beautiful is exterior, you know, the beauty of the way the makeup on the face, or the fashion that you're wearing, or the clothing you're wearing, or the hairstyle you're into. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just a matter of just realize that we're talking about the beauty within you. You know, ancient Egyptian cultures, you know, honored the physical body and did things like spiritual bathing, and then used oils and, you know, all of things to bring out the spirit of who we are, because we are spirit, we are not the physical body. And so when you enhance the spirit, you are automatically enhancing the health of the physical body.
Right. And it
You know,
actually shines out into the physical when you.
exactly. The coloration, you know, and this is another thing. We talk about hair, but it's more than hair. I'm looking at the facial symmetry. I'm looking at the lineup of the eyes and the ears and the cheekbones and the lips and the nose, and how it's placed on the face, and how the complexion tone of your skin, you know, even after this whole thing, it's all of that. And all of that, it's amazing how the hair will suddenly become moist and shiny and softer, and people feel very relaxed during the process, because, you know, on a day-to-day basis, we are pumping, we are pumping, we are percolating, we are going, we are thriving, we are busy bees, right? And we
Mhm.
don't know, sometimes we over, because the natural state of the body is in a relaxed natural form, to be loosey goosey, to be the
Mhm.
little noodle, you know, kind of thing. And yet, no, 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 we got our agendas, we got to keep going, we rev it up, zing, 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 right? So this idea of getting the central nervous system deprogrammed, relaxed, back to its natural state of being, resets, restores, revitalizes, and heals.
Right. Now,
Okay.
you talk about doing this and looking at the angles and the 51-degree angles and looking at the head. But then, can you share with everyone, the audience, you do this remotely. You don't have to be there in the physical.
Used to be, originally it was very much, you know, there was a woman who really brought this forward through Thoth as a gifted person. She was a barber in Kentucky, Louisville. Her name was Annabelle Goodrich, and she is the one that Laota found, you know, met her and saw her doing her work, and saw the chakra illumination going on as she was doing this haircut. You know,
Yeah.
and this woman was, and so, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
so
People
then,
came from
yes,
all
they
over, my
did.
understanding,
Yes, they
all over the
did.
country to get their
All
hair.
over. Yes, they came to her little place in Kentucky. And, you know, and then she did it as best as she could, you know, teaching it and going around the world trying to, you know, get it to code. And then as she transitioned, it kind of went dormant. It
Mm.
went dormant until now.
Hmm.
Until now. And so it has this, and obviously all things have, all things old change, right? I mean, this
Yeah.
is the natural evolution of things as they grow and change and they develop and evolve. You know, so too has this, you know, once pyramid cut harmonic hair healing is now known as pyramid pyrogenics, because what we were using was a scissors or a buzz, you know, cut, and
Clippers.
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 There you go. Thank you. Thank you.
Hmm.
Yes, clippers, you know, to actually take off really hair. I mean, we were not salon stylists, but we knew how to, by using the precise cutting mechanism, which was at a special angular cut, now has been upgraded to a rotary 360-degree cut around the tip of the hair follicle. Why is that? Because it brings in more light. If you do
Yeah.
something and as an angle, it's only what? You know, a 90-degree angle, or it's a
Well, I
180-degree angle. It's not a 360-degree full spectrum panoramic view, you know,
right,
cut.
right.
So,
And my
so,
understanding, if I may add too, is that these cuts, it even changed the structure of the hair. It made it softer,
mm-hmm,
curlier, or
mm-hmm,
more pliable, more
mm-hmm,
manageable. And add, like you said, pulled in the water, and
mm-hmm.
it was more hydrated. It made miraculous changes in the hair. That's why so many people from all over the country used to come to her to get their hair cut,
Mm-hmm.
this energetic cut.
Yes. And it's interesting, most people who have straighter hair will say, oh my goodness, my hair's starting to wave up. And the reason for that is, you know, the straighter the hair, the less information the hair strand holds. The more wavy and coiled and curly the hair is, the more information that's stored in the hair follicle. It's kind of like a coil of a transmitter, if you will, you know, like a radio operator thing. It's the same idea that it can hold more information in a wave pattern in a coil than it can in a straightness.
Mm.
It used to be thick hair used to be lots of energy and it was considered strong willpower. Straight hair was considered more formal and business-like. Short hair, you don't waste time. You're one of these 1, 2, 3, get going with things, and then and long hair really has been symbolic of kind of a religious aspect. Many cultures years ago. I mean, you never cut your hair. The Eastern Indian
Oh yeah,
things.
my
You
grandmother used
never.
to say, "Hair's
Oh,
your beauty. Your hair's beauty. Don't cut it."
yeah, because it was linked to the spiritual realm. The Native American people, they used to put their hair to the ground, to the earth, to be able to hear the stampedes coming forward miles and miles and miles away. So
Mm.
there's magic in hair. We know that there's magic in everything. But the point is that, this idea of this cultural identity with hair is very, very prevalent. People are very emotional about their hair.
Yeah, they are.
Especially if you're starting to lose it, okay? And this is another thing that this process is amazing in terms of it regenerates hair. It pulls back hair. I have a fellow I've been working with for many weeks now and had balding in many areas around his whole head, and he has hair growing in it. It's thick across the top now, and what's even happening now is the melanation, the coloration is coming back in his hair. He has pure white hair, and now dark black areas are coming through into the new growth of the hair.
Wow.
It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And his skin, his facial features, he looks at least 15 to 20 years younger than he did before we had started.
Mm-hmm.
So this is all, amazing how this this information through the light affects the physical body. We are light
Mm-hmm.
beings and we thrive in the light. And the greater the light, the greater the well-being that we have and the greater expression we can be. Um,
So
especially with the crown chakra.
yeah, so it says basically, in essence, cutting this hair in this utilizing technique is actually allowing us to bring in more energy in order to rejuvenate. Isn't it sound
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes.
rejuvenate, regenerate?
Well, yeah, it activates the whole process of growth and development. It's like, use the analogy of a plant. The natural rebirth of a plant. What do you need to grow anything? You
Oh
need
yeah,
water, you
right.
need light,
Mm-hmm.
and you need sound, really, stimulation as well. And
Mm,
so this idea of the sound, and what we're encouraged to do, for those of you who are not aware of, there is an ancient Hawaiian practice called Ho'oponopono that originally, when this process of hair harmonics came through, where people were to be saying, thank you, I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry. Thank you, I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry. Thank you, I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry. Through the whole process with their breath, engaging in the breath and saying this beautiful healing technique of reconciliation and clearing. Because when you are activated with Ho'oponopono, you're creating self-love, which, ding, 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 it's about self-loving ourselves to bring us to inspiration, and that divine inspiration, being in harmony with divinity.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anything. And this is what this does too. It brings us closer to divination, because what? It's activating the crown chakra, which is all about spirituality. It's all about oneness. It's all about the divinity, right? And if we are originally of source, we are divine. We are divine. So it's bringing us to who we are, to
Mm-hmm.
who we really are, and to shine forward in that illumination by having that ultimate, the optimal amount of light brought in through the hair follicle, shining in through the chakra of the crown, and filtering its way all the way down through all the other chakras, and then zing, there you are, this living prism of kaleidoscope light, that's beaming forward and is activated and just shining on. You feel it. You can feel the energy shift. You can see it in yourself, and then the dynamics of everything. And it's about, then it changes your thinking. It's not about people who benefit, from this work are people who not only with hair loss and hair thinning, but, cognitive function, balance and coordination, your disposition changes. People with learning disorders of ADD, ADHD, autism, central nervous system issues, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, all these people can benefit from this.
Do you have any other stories to share of clients?
Actually, I know there's a lot of people on the line that have had it, and if they'd like to share first, then I'll fill in if they want to. I'm creating the interactive part right now. If anybody, I know Delilah did, shared forward. Anybody else wish to join in or not? Giving them the opportunity to.
You go, Serenia.
Ooh, thank you, Serenia.
Invocation Veritas, honor, respect, and gratitude.
Invocation Veritas.
Well, I wanted to share briefly my experience. I've had three of the Pyramid Pyrogenic treatments, and I always told Donna before she even gets started, I can't barely keep my eyes open. So I know it's so relaxing, and neurologically, I just feel like regenerated. I mean, Donna's working, and and we do the breath work at first, and she's working, and she's like, the last time she was doing it, she's like, I thought you were gonna fall off of it.
Chair.
Yeah.
I thought you
Yeah.
were gonna fall off the chair. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, next time I'll make sure that I'm angled back a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
it's such
Mm-hmm.
a relaxing process. I noticed that right away that my hair was starting to um, relax a bit, less tense. I thought the hair was more in relationship to the tension that was directly in my body, right? The muscles were more relaxed in my neck and shoulders and as well. And I was able to sleep a lot better as well. And the clarity was so much more, uh, uh, you
Like
know,
evidence. Like
present. Right. Yeah,
evidence.
I felt so much clearer in my thinking. I didn't have to do so much stopping in my thoughts, because sometimes when it's so much going on, I found myself having to like find the words and that kind of thing.
Right.
So
Right.
it
I
so I
agree.
want so I wanted to speak in it, about that, because it's such an enjoyable treatment.
And I
Mm-hmm.
can agree with you, because when I had it done, I was like knocked out each time. I was sitting there, I didn't drop my head, but I just was knocked out. you know,
I,
yeah. Such a
but she
relax.
said that was, she's like, well, that means you're receiving it. You're in relaxation mode. You're not, because I
You're
know
not
sometimes.
resisting it.
Right, you're
Not
not resisting it, and if you're not resisting, then you can receive a lot better.
right.
So
Right.
that's what I'll
Mm-hmm.
share, and
Yeah, I
just
found
want to work.
I agree with the decision processes that came on, if I and
Hmm.
confronted, issues that I needed to make a decision, I had more clarity as far as to correct it or to answer those questions,
Hmm.
and so my days were flowing much more easily, more readily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you, Donna. Thank
Well,
you, Tom.
thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Oh,
for
Diane
sharing.
is there.
Oh,
Diane.
Diane. Okay, excellent. Thank you.
And Lakesham Veritas, with honor, respect, and
Like
gratitude.
Veritas. I'm respecting gratitude.
I have had a number of Pyramid Pyrogenic sessions, and they've all been different. Like Serenia, I fell asleep sometimes, but other times I am really energized even during the session. But I do find that I have a lot more clarity and able to focus really well on my tasks at hand. And my hair has been beautiful. My hair has been super straight my whole life. And now it's wavy and it gets
Yeah.
all, I won't say curly, but it's wavy. So it's
Yeah,
getting there.
it looks great actually.
And
Anybody seen Diane at the
thank
Nation Work?
you.
Looks
Thank you.
great.
Thanks to Donna. Thank you. Thank you. And also I have a lot of dark hair coming in because my hair has been white. And now it is very dark, which I didn't really notice too much because it's mostly in the back. So when the pictures are taken, and I am fortunate enough to have Donna in person, so I am so lucky because sometimes I do get the physical haircut, and that's amazing as well.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
but yes, there's been a lot of, I've seen a lot of change, and it's so helpful to hear some of the different things that are going on. It really helps me understand how I've been doing, with different parts of the brain and what they do. And then it's like, oh, all right, that might be why that was happening.
Hmm.
And, so thank you again. I'm very grateful.
Oh, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing your story. I appreciate it.
In the Cushion Veritas.
Oh yeah, and look.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you. You know, I do need to tap into the fact that, why it's called Pyramid Pyrogenics. Rather than using the scissors now, we're using a spiritual fire filament to cut the hair in the luminous body, okay? So etherically, it's not on the hair itself. But I mean, it does, the heat creates a smoke that clears the passageway of the hair follicle. And, this allows and releases the trapped energy and the unhealthy side effects of all our environmental toxins. And it
Mm-hmm.
allows free flowing, and then it achieves, the chakra illumination that we were talking about, and the synchronization of unity and motion, and promotes the restoration of strength and nourishment at all multidimensional levels.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this is increased vitality and new life is being brought into you by having this process of the sacred geometric pyramid, used with this special technique. And now what's being overlaid again is in each quadrant, one of the elements of the earth, the earth element, the fire, the water, and the air
Mm-hmm.
is being imprinted into the quadrants as I'm doing this work. And the latest thing now is the brain bath is now, this is the newest thing that came forward, is after each session, the brain is put into a 3-hour nutritive brain bath of warm, pulsating motion to relax it, to hydrate it, to nourish it, and to heal. Now,
Interesting.
we're going into, yes, and it really, people have viscerally felt it and just love it. It's like cool. But here's the deal. All right, we're talking about hair. But when I go in, I'm seeing a lot more than hair.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to go into the brain and seeing brain things go on. I'm seeing, malformations. I'm seeing circulatory insufficiencies or lack of. I'm seeing, aneurysms. I'm seeing blood clots. I'm seeing all sorts of, physical things that would be in the field that would be very advantageous to clear, which is what's being done during this whole process. So it's a lot more than you know, um, what
Right.
we're thinking it is. And it goes deeper and it keeps going deeper. And depending
So
on
when
the,
these things are cleared,
yes.
then what is that to allow it to heal faster? To be what's the
Well,
benefit
let's
of
say,
the work?
okay, let's say I'm seeing a quadrant with a lot of unusual cells in it, which is a precancerous situation. Okay, to clear that and reset that through Thoth and the dynamics of pyramid pyrogenics is an advantageous. If it clears the field, it will not manifest into the physical body. That's
Mm,
the beauty of all energetic healing, right? Is to
right.
get it out of the luminous, the biofield, the biomagnetic field, the auric field, whatever. It's all the same name, it's all the same meaning. But this subtle field that surrounds the physical body is where everything begins. And if it's not resolved there, you don't just wake up and have cancer. You don't just wake up and have diabetes. You don't just wake up and have arthritis. It's been in that
Right. It
field
starts with the
for
energy
a
first and
long
then manifests
time,
into the
okay?
physical.
And then finally it gets to an accumulation where it becomes dense and it goes into the physical body
Right.
and becomes a symptom, all right? And it's an expression physically of whatever,
Now,
you're
what about
feeling.
someone who already has the symptom, who already has the disease or the issue? Will this work help them? You know?
Well, it will, if yes, of course, because whenever you're dealing with the spiritual plane, all right, so we are physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, environmental, we're all of those things, right? And we are trying to work to keep them all balanced at the same amount of frequency, if you will. That is our ultimate goal, to keep us, you know, so balanced and so in tune to nature as we were created, going back to that original blueprint of how we were imprinted into this world. You know, the idea is, if you want something in the physical to resolve itself, you work on the mental, emotional, and spiritual planes.
Hmm.
And
And
it
that's all energy.
affects, yeah, because if you can create, and it's all about your thinking, because what got you there was a thought form that got stuck and ended up not being cleared, and then became total full 360 into a physical domain,
That's what like Louise Hay
dimension. Yeah,
work talks
yes, okay,
about.
so you can reverse. So if you think yourself into something, you can unthink yourself into something else. You can
Mm.
think yourself into change, but that takes, an awareness, and that takes, knowledge base, and this is what all the sun is offering all
Yeah,
of us.
absolutely.
All the services are meant to, clear our fields, to amp us up to the highest level we can to be the best expressions that we can be,
Hmm.
to be the
And it
light,
truly
to be the
works.
light. We are the
Yep.
light,
And
right?
it truly works.
Yes.
Changing your
Yeah, there's
thinking
no such.
changes the energy, then heals. I've heard numerous stories regarding that.
Right,
This
right.
is a great technique, Donna. This is wonderful.
This is, and it's continuing to grow and evolve and be more than what it was originally designed to be, because, everything is growing and evolving, and, and so too will this.
Yeah.
It's, I am really in total honor, respect, and gratitude to every hair strand on her head. Do you know that each one of us is an individual, like a snowflake?
Yeah.
Serious. We think of our hair as a grouping, just a group of stuff, right? But
Right.
each one of them is different individual uniqueness that is the compilation of the collective, if you will, right?
Right. Right.
So to really stand in honor and respect each strand on your head, we are holographic beings interacting with nature. Every aspect of us, the whole of us, is the universe in it, all
Right.
that is. And by changing the texture of your hair, you can awaken sensory dynamics, and you harmonize with creation, changing your life trajectories to being better and more,
Right. Right. That
right?
is wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you, Donna, for such wonderful stories, great insight on Pyramid Pyrogenics. I will be making another appointment so that I can benefit from
Thank
even the newer
you.
that are available.
Yes, it's always different and new and more. Always.
Yeah, it's
It's
wonderful. Thank
always.
you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you for having me. It was truly a delight and my pleasure to share and,
Yeah.
enhance. Hopefully, you got a little richness out of that,
Oh, yeah.
huh?
It answered a lot of questions. A lot of questions. I want to also let everybody know that Donna also has a phenomenal meditation session on Sundays at 7 p.m. where you're swimming with some dolphins, and it's such a relaxing experience on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern. And something that I recommend you try out. Register for these sessions. You can register at several locations. Online at ofthesun.com website, enlakeshstudio1.com, enlakeshstudio2.com, and enlakeshstudio4.com. So I recommend that, everyone to try this dolphins and whales meditation
Yes. I
for
don't.
a great start of the week.
Yes, I don't, and I think I'd like to pull the awareness of people who there are maybe not aware of, that when you're doing this meditation, yes, it's very, relaxing, and it takes you almost into a trance-like state.
It does.
It really does. But during that time, you are doing significant healing,
Mm-hmm.
such significant healing. So it's
Yeah.
so wonderful from that perspective, and it's joyful, and it's happy,
Yes,
and
rejuvenate. You really feel it.
it's yes. So thank
Yeah.
you for that. Yes. So
Yeah.
come on board. Come on board.
And then I'd also like to remind everyone about our whole responsibility meditation sessions that are hosted by Lakesh Studios, that are held on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6 a.m., 12:30 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Time for only 30 minutes. And join us tapping into the power of Ho'oponopono, powerful technique of forgiveness and reconciliation that will assist in shifting our trajectories in our lives, life circumstances, into something that is greater. And then I also want to remind everyone about our Divine Nation sessions that are given on most Fridays, Friday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's only for 1 hour. And these are wonderful workshops where we are showing everyone how to use the Call for the True Divination cards, using them to answer questions about ourselves, about our circumstances around us, our questions about others, about the world. The information provided in these cards are actually limitless. And the workshop is completely free and a lot of fun. So I encourage everyone to sign up and join these sessions. All right. So thank you again so much, Donna, for joining us here on Clubhouse.
Thank
And
you. Thank you.
and I
And
look
Lakesh and
forward.
Veritas with honor, respect, and gratitude.
Yeah, I look forward to you returning, providing more information on your experiences of various energetic techniques. So thank you, honor, respect, and gratitude. And thank you everyone for joining us this evening. I look forward to seeing you on the next week. We'll be bringing back Tavares, and he will be sharing with us some important information on the power of water. So that should be a really interesting session next week. So, and just remember, knowledge is power. So everyone, good night. With honor, respect, and gratitude, and Lakesh and Veritas.
Good night now,
And
Lakesh and
Lakesh
Thank
Veritas.
you. And
Honor,
Lakesh and
respect, and
Much
Veritas.
gratitude.
honor, respect,
Veritas,
and
thank you.
gratitude. Thank
Gratitude,
you.
thank you,
Much
thank
gratitude.
you.
Thank you,
And
thank you,
Lakesh
thank you.
and Veritas.
Watch it.